Hello, and welcome everybody to today's broadcast of Parenting Accurately. So glad that you joined us. Just before we get started and get into this, I do have an announcement to make. Our guest, Cami Shaw, is unable to make it here today. She had an unexpected event come up, so she had to reschedule. So we'll definitely be praying for her. And the good thing is that she's rescheduled for tomorrow, so we will be able to have the original broadcast that we were going to share tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. So I apologize for the inconvenience for that, but we do look forward to the show tomorrow. It's going to be a great one. So take the extra day, invite your friends, invite your family. We're going to have a very good talk. Definitely want to take a minute, thank the and they do too. So I appreciate that. So today's gonna be a shorter broadcast. I felt like I didn't want to just not do the broadcast, because we do lives here. Sometimes things happen. We're not going to be able to like pre-record the session with the guest and then edit it and then post it. So we do have to be flexible and realize that there are times where some things do come up, and we definitely understand. So however, I did want to take a few minutes and just share my heart a little bit more about parenting accurately. Maybe you're wondering, what is parenting accurately? What is this about? What's happening here? And let me tell you that this is just the beginning of a movement that's going to impact and going to change the lives of hundreds of thousands of families here and all across the world. These are the beginning days. So you might be one who can say, I was an original fan of Parenting Accurately. I was an original part of it. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you for sharing what we're doing. My heart has always been to really help families to reach young people. And earlier in the year, I was thinking and meditating on this, and like how, I'm not a teenager anymore. Long ago, I was a youth pastor many years ago, and served in ministry for 10 plus years. And now, I have teenagers of my own, and I begin to see like what they go through is completely different than what I went through as a teenager, and even what the youth and the kids that I ministered to long ago, what they went through. It's a different world out there. And, I believe that sometimes our training as a parent needs to update with the times. We would have never, when I was a teenager, my parents would have never thought that they would have to control and step in and help monitor the things that kids have access to through technology, through even what's accepted on TV. And I'm not one that says we should live in a box and be hermits, but we do need to pay attention to what our kids are doing, pay attention to what they're in, what they're watching. And with that, there's a lot of things that our young people have gone through, with the rise of anxiety, ADHD, and all the other things that are happening to them. What is that? Where does that leave the parents? Where does that leave us? And as I meditated and thought about this during the summer, I realized that if I wanted to help improve the life of a young person, I need to get to the parents. The way to get through the kids is through the parents, because the parents ultimately have a big, huge connection with their teenagers and preteens. I know, I said it. As a parent, you have the largest connection, the most powerful connection that anyone has to your young people. And I know that what some of you might be thinking, well, that's not true in my house. Believe me, it is. Maybe that connection is weak at the moment. Maybe that connection feels like it's not powerful, or that what you say like bounces off your kids. But let me assure you that stick with us, because we're going to take you through a process. We're going to take you through a journey that will help you clear the path. Sometimes, we have a connection with somebody. I saw this. We have a bridge. There's a bridge of love between parents and their children that cannot be broken. I believe it's a God-given connection. It's a love. It's also a responsibility as a parent to reach and to be a parent, show up and be active in our kids' life. But like I said, stick with us, and we're going to show you how to clean that bridge up. Maybe the bridge is cluttered with life's cares, with maybe a divorce or fighting or drama. And maybe some of those things that are on that bridge of connection. So I'm going to slow down here, and I really want to explain this well. There's a bridge of connection between you and your kids. And so that bridge, maybe it can be clear, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's full of issues. Maybe there's things blocking that flow of love and communication between you and your child, or you and your teen. And so some of the things may be because you have placed them on there, and things happen naturally. I understand life. Life is busy. It's fast. Things happen. Some things are out of our control. Some things are not. But I believe that some things can clutter that bridge. It can clutter the area of communication and love between us and our kids. And then on the other hand, we have our kids on that side of the bridge, and whatever they go through, the things that they're hearing, the things that they're exposed to, events and trauma sometimes that can occur in their life, and then they clutter that bridge, their side as well. So before you know it, if we don't pay attention, if we don't look at that bridge and evaluate what's happening, what does the flow look like? If we don't take a moment and evaluate that, years will pass, and you'll find yourself in a place where, like in a state of emergency, where, oh my Lord, I've got to help my kids. Like there's something, there's a problem, and now I don't know where to begin. And so my goal with Parenting Accurately is to, number one, bring hope. We must bring hope. There is hope as a parent. I got a message from somebody yesterday. The parent sounded desperate, saying that, like, I need all the help I can get. I've got 3 teenagers, and so they're going to be moving back with the other spouse, and just I know that there's a million of different types of stories. Each person's family is different. No family is the same. But we're going to be bringing some tools. We're going to be bringing some principles. We're going to be bringing some things to you guys. And I hope that we've already done that. I know some of you have written in and shared what the broadcast has done for you. And I really appreciate those encouraging words, and it's huge. So please keep sending them. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how this show is impacting your life. But on the back end of this, while we're doing these lives and bringing on interviews, people to interview and sharing valuable tools and insights on how to help you in your parenting journey, we're working on a program. We're developing a program that really will give you many of the tools needed to parent accurately. I shared this in the very, very, very first interview. What it means to me to parent accurately is to hit the mark. And I think of a bow and arrow. I remember there was a time when I was a young kid, and I used to shoot a bow and arrow in the backyard. And my dad used to teach archery, so he was pretty good at it. And so he was teaching me at a very young age. And one afternoon I was shooting. We had 3 large hay bales stacked up and then a big round target in the middle. And the whole idea here is to hit the bullseye. So got pretty good at it, but there was one time where my sister also wanted to play in the backyard. Well, there's not a large amount of space to play, so she wanted to play in an area that I was shooting. And I told her, like, I'm shooting here. I don't want you to get hurt. Step aside. Get out of the way. And, as most, little sisters would do, fight with the little brother, they decided to get in the way anyhow. And I pulled the string back. It was a very big bow, so it was really hard, and I'd pull it back. And I let the arrow go. It was by accident, but I let the arrow go, and the arrow went into my sister's arm. So that day, I missed the mark. I missed the mark big time. And no words can describe what I felt at that moment. Fortunately, the tip of the arrow that I was using at the moment was a rubber tip. It was a rubber, large round tip, and it had small small little tips around it, but it was still a hard rubber. So it didn't pierce her skin, but it did leave her a really good bruise. And later that day, I got a really good bruise from the spanking that I got. So, and deserved. So, but I know that there's been times when I've been parenting and I feel like in the same situation. I missed the mark. And let me just encourage you that if we miss the mark, we will miss the mark at times in our parenting journey. But don't let that keep you from pulling back and shooting again. Don't let that stop you from continuing on, and apologize if you have to, and then shoot again. Our kids want us to fight for them. And I know this from my own experience. I've also read a bunch of books and done some learning and training on the subject. But I saw with my own daughter, there was a time where she resisted me, and a time where she was kind of going through a rebellious phase. She was going through a bunch of emotional trauma. She was processing a divorce. When I think about it, I could not imagine really all of the things that she had to deal with, the things that were on her heart, the things that she had to process at such a young age. Like, a lot of adults don't ever have to process the things that she was processing. And I know that there are millions of kids out there that are in the same boat, that are in a world where they're processing like trauma. They're processing things that they don't understand. And yet there's a bridge between the connection between the support system that they have, that God gave them, called parents, and that bridge to their connection with their parents is cluttered. And so then they're left alone in the process. And I admit to you guys today, I'm not here trying to tell you that I know everything or that I've done it all right. In fact, I've made some pretty big mistakes with my kids. Number one, not paying attention when they were hurting, because I didn't understand their hurt. I've never processed hurt that way. My daughter, who did attempt suicide, before she did that, she was cutting. I did not understand what cutting was about, and I failed to really dive into it. So in a sense, I kind of brushed it off, which then led to, in her case, the trauma that she was feeling and going through. She didn't have her parents there. She didn't have her dad there. And I was there physically, and I was providing everything that she needed, providing clothing and a nice home. But yet the basic thing that she needed, she didn't have, which was my love, which was my support. And that led further down a road to where, she decided to try to take her life. Thank God she failed. And then I woke up and realized, okay, wait a minute. What's going on here? I need to find out what is it exactly that would cause my daughter to want to give up. And now today, a couple years later, she's thriving. She's doing great. Evaluating that process and taking a really hard look at what I went through and what it took. Really, I can break it down into one simple thing. It was to not be afraid to show love, to not be afraid to fight for her. I had to fight for her. And I tell you, it wasn't easy. There were times where she rejected me, or there were times where she would put up a wall. I told you in the beginning here that there was a time where, on that bridge of connection between our kids and between the heart of our children and our heart, sometimes we can clutter the bridge, but then also sometimes they can build a wall on that bridge to keep the things that we're trying to accomplish in our life, to keep the care and the love that we're showing. They just put a wall up. And so what do we do as parents? Well, I'll tell you what we don't do is we don't give up on them, and we don't turn them over to somebody else because we feel like they can do it. There are times where, I'm certainly for, counseling and therapy when needed. But I do believe, though, that there's no power like the power that you have. There's no influence. There's no greater connection than the one that you have with your kids. Of course, there is the ultimate connection with God, and that's important. And then the earlier our children learn about that and develop their faith, the better. But aside from that, do not devalue the connection that you have. Don't devalue the power of the connection that you have with your kids. It's honestly, it can really mean life and death. Kids, I know, with my daughter, she went through what she went through, and she did reject me. But on the inside, she wanted me. She wanted me to fight for her. There's a book called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, and that book wrecked my life, but it also saved everything. It saved my family. If you've not read it, even if you're a mom and you're listening to this, I would encourage you to read it. And then share that with your husband. It's give it to him. It's a hard book to read, to be honest with you. It's a hard book to read because it's a very real, but it gives you very, very valuable insight, very valuable information as to what our kids go through. How early are they exposed to pornography? How early are they exposed to things that we were not exposed to till much, much later in life? These kids are dealing with things and they don't have the foundation that they need. But I kept pushing in and I kept pressing in, and it didn't take long. And before I knew it, my daughter, I kind of imagine like a large dam. It's a big wall. There's a bunch of water on the other side. And so on the other side of that, there's a lot of love and a lot of support. But there's a wall. There's a dam that's been built. And then you break through and you work hard. It's tough. And you'll have days where you cry. You'll have days where you laugh, but you keep on going. You keep on going. And then eventually you break through. And then a little bit of water comes out. And it's encouraging and it's exciting. And then you keep on going. And then before you know it, your kid will help you tear down the wall. Your kid will help you remove the barrier that once separated you two. And then you get to enjoy that. They get the support. And I'm telling you, support from the parents can go further than anything else. Anything else. Our kids need it. They crave it. One thing I wanted to share real quick is that, in that book that I mentioned earlier, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, there is a part in there where they talk about divorce. And it's a real hard talk about the effects of it. And they encourage everybody, stay married, stay together. Even if it's, just stay together, do whatever you can do, fight harder to keep the families together. And I told you earlier that I did go through a divorce, and I've seen firsthand what that does to our kids. And let me just tell you, it still affects them today. And we can do everything that we can do to try to minimize that effect. But the fact is, it's devastating. And I've heard somebody, when I remember several years ago when I was going through everything, I heard somebody say, "Oh, well, kids are resilient." And true, but that's not because they have a choice. They're put in a lot of times they're put in situations to where they have no choice to be resilient. They have to. But who are we as parents to take that lightly? And I know, and I'm not saying that everybody does that. There's no judgment here, but in some cases, I know that could be an excuse to just take the easy route. I want to encourage you, don't take the easy route. Even if it's difficult, and in certain cases, it can be very difficult. But I believe that there's a reward on the other side of that. There's a reward to keep the family together. Now, if you're one who's already, post-divorce, or maybe you've lost a spouse, and you're widowed, and, all those things are very traumatic for the kids. I want to take a minute and encourage you that the work ahead is harder, but it's not impossible. I believe that God gives us grace when we work on our kids, when we work on ourselves, and taking an honest look at ourselves is super important. Oftentimes, this is what will hinder us the most, is that we try to find the problems in our kids, but yet we don't take a moment to evaluate our own heart and evaluate, what kind of heart are we? How are we talking to our kids? Are we ministering to our kids? Are we sharing support from our kids out of love, or is it out of pain? And if it's out of pain, then all we're going to do is multiply pain. So take time, do what you have to do to dive into your own heart, dive into the things that nobody knows, the things that keep you awake at night. Parenting accurately is more than just a broadcast a couple times a week. We're creating a movement. We're creating a place where parents can go to, a refuge where they can come and get help. get help and get the tools and equipment they need. However, no matter what tools I give them and no matter what tools anybody else that I have on the broadcast give, it's still up to you to use them. It's still up to you to make the choice to do better, to change, to stop doing what didn't work. Take the tools and then go a different direction and try something new. You're still going to have to do it. It's still going to be on you. But I promise you, I know and I believe that when you do, the dynamic of your family will change. The dynamic and the hope. Imagine hope in your child's eyes. I know some of you out there have a hard time hearing this and maybe have a hard time imagining what it could be like to have your child like look to you with respect and look to you. Some right now are just, the kids are never home. They don't want to be home. But I encourage you, make time. Lay some rules. Make them be home. Take that time to break through. Talk to them. Show them that you care. If you have, you're kind of stuck and you're not sure what to do, parentingaccurately.com is right there on the screen. Go there. I wrote a 7-day guide on how to build your connection with your teen. And I believe that if you take these and you implement them, you will see a change. It's just the beginning, though. This is not an all-inclusive book. I'm not promising you that if you take this book and apply it, that everything is going to change. That the sun's going to come out and the flowers are going to bloom. But it's a start, and we have to start somewhere. So I'm definitely working hard to develop the next step and what things could look like in growing and continuing to grow that connection with your kids. So I'm really excited about this, guys. I believe in you. I believe in you as a parent. Again, like the strongest relationship that you have, the strongest relationship that your kids have is you and them. The strongest connection is that bridge of love between your heart and their heart. A bridge connects two landmasses, and the landmasses in many cases don't look the same. But yet it's that bridge that brings the unity. It's that bridge that builds a bond between our kids and us. Don't neglect that bridge, please. Don't neglect that bridge. It's the most important thing that they have. It's the lifeline. I can keep going and rant about this stuff, but know that I appreciate you guys. Know that we're here for you. If you need anything, email us, comment, like what's going on. We love feedback. I'd love to know more about what exactly are you facing. I know from my experience, and I've talked with some good friends about things that they face and challenges that they face. But like I said, not every family is the same. And if you've been a parent for a while, you understand, parenting can be messy at times. Sometimes we need somebody else just to come alongside us and be an encouragement and help. That's what we're here for. So take advantage of us. Don't just flip to another screen or flip to another page. Take a moment and write us. Let us know what's going on. Let us know how we can serve you. It'll be really instrumental, especially as I'm taking the time now to prepare the curriculum and the program that we're going to launch out soon, and provide a greater opportunity for you guys to get involved and to learn in a more intensified fashion. So I'm excited about that. Looking forward to it. But yeah, right in. I'm going to sign off here in just a minute, but I definitely want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for sharing what's going on. Thank you for sharing the page. I know I've seen a lot of you are sharing our Facebook page. I'm excited about the momentum that we have. We literally just started a few weeks ago, and so many people are coming to the page every day. It's very exciting and very motivating. So in your parenting journey, I just want to encourage you to step it up. Be active in your kid's life. They need you. No matter what they say, they want you. They want you to fight for them. So God bless you guys. We love you, and we are here for you. Let us know how we can help, all right? All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Again, we're praying for Cammie that everything is going to be fine, and we will see her tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to talk more about diving into building a stronger family. She's also an essential oils expert, and she is a registered nurse. I've been in the nursing career many, many, many years, and I mean, she's even taken the essential oils and used that in her practice. So we're going to hear a little bit about that, but we're going to take time into diving into certain keys that she's learned over the years that has really strengthened her family. I mean, the strength of the family is the backbone of our country. The stronger families we have, the stronger country we have, the stronger community. And so I'm super excited about having her back tomorrow, guys. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.